Hello and welcome to the Derek Show, the show where I, Derek, talk until I'm out of breath. It is raining, cats and dogs, no, lions and wolves, zebras and elephants here in Austin, and you can see there is a small river going through my backyard. So come in out of the rain, stay a while, and let's have a chit-chat. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, especially in the comments, go ahead and leave which news stories you think I should cover, whether via URL or with some Google search terms, and then I can read those. So I think it would be fun if the audience participates and gives me some cues for what you all want me to do. Well, I have a few stories. These all, once again, from apnews.com/oddities that I will be going through today. Okay, the first one, stolen antique Weathervane recovered 40 years later and returned to Vermont. All right, so this one is from Burr, Vermont, Associated Press. And honestly, I clicked on it because it looked like a picture of a model train on the cover, and that gives me good warm fuzzies. It gives me fuzzies. I feel okay. An antique copper Weathervane that was swiped from a Vermont railway station 40 years ago has been found and was returned to the state last week, the Vermont Agency of Transportation has announced. We are delighted to see this valuable historical artifact and beautiful piece of art return to its home here in Vermont, Judith Ehrlich, the agency's historic preservation officer, said in a statement on Monday. That is kind of nice, you know? Something gone missing for a long time, finally brought back. I mean, you don't really hear that a lot, or like when things go missing, you usually think like, well, it's gone forever. But that's pretty cool. I mean, not really that... I thought there might have been a funnier story up to this point, honestly, but let's see what paragraph 3 has in store for us. The 1910 Weathervane is of a steam locomotive and coal tender and was made by W.A. Snow Iron Works Incorporated. It sat on top of the White River Junction Station in Hartford before it was stolen, November 3rd, 1983. The transportation agency said Tuesday. Nearly 40 years later, it was consigned to New York auction house Sotheby's, officials say. Now, this is what I'm looking for. The plot thickens. Who was it stolen by? How do they know that it was stolen? Where did it wind up? Sotheby's, officials said. The organization Arts Loss Register, which has a database of lost, stolen, and looted art, antiques, and collectibles, confirmed that the piece was the stolen Weathervane, so the auction house pulled it from sale, the transportation agency said. The state currently owns the White River Junction Station. Arts Loss Register worked with the state to return the Weathervane last week, the transportation agency said. This sounds like it was written by AI, this article. There's not much creativity to this. How many times, now let's count and say how many times a sentence has ended with so-and-so said. All right, let's see. There's one. The state said, the transportation agency said, once again, stolen, looted art, Sotheby's, officials said. This is pretty impressive number of times to have that formula in one article, which is only 5 paragraphs long. Judith Ehrlich said in a statement on Monday that also I think the Vermont Agency of Transportation has announced is included in that. Wow, 6 times in 5 paragraphs. That's very impressive. All right. The transportation Sotheby's paid the $2,300 cost to ship it to Vermont, the state said. Ehrlich said the transportation agency is working with the state curator to pick a great location for the Weathervane so that it may be enjoyed once more. Why not back where it used to be on the... Well, I hope they find something, but it just feels fitting that it would be returned to the same I don't know why I care about this. I don't know why I'm getting worked up about it. But you know what? This show is inspired by Tim Dillon, who is an angry Northeasterner, and that's me too. So, damn it, I'm going to get angry. Why not? It feels right that they would return this to the same train station that it was stolen from. Also, I mean, well, I guess we don't know it was stolen. The story is missing so many key elements. Who stole it? Maybe we don't know, but can't you do some more digging? Can't you find out? It's like maybe it was a disgruntled transportation authority manager who was fired, and he's like, well, you know what? I'm gonna go to the White Horse Auction Junction, the White River Junction station, and take that Weathervane before anyone suspects me. They fired me, but I'm gonna take the Weathervane. I don't know. Yeah. This woeful lack of detail. A woeful lack of detail. What? Is the vein going back to the White River Junction station? Only seems fair. Are they going to put it at a bigger station, like a more prestigious station, where it's going to get more views on the photos on Google Maps? Oh my God. I think it should go back to the White River station in the same location it used to be. Unless, of course, that station has been rebuilt and remodeled, then you need to choose a new location for it. Or maybe there's a better location at the station which has not been rebuilt or remodeled than where it was before. Yeah, you could put it at a different station, but I think that we've tapped this pretty well. Okay, yeah. I'm moving on from this one. Terribly written. No author credit. Thank goodness. Spare yourself the embarrassment. Whoever put this floating piece of internet flotsam together, you're welcome that you didn't put your name there, and I can't shout it out. Well, whatever, who gives a shit. Okay, so, here's what might prove to be a more interesting story. A Greasy monumental ritual at the Naval Academy ends after more than 2 hours. There's just a lot of greasy, sweaty, wet boys stacked up on top of each other surrounding an obelisk in this picture. Once again, we do not have a producer. We do not have an editor. We have increased the production value with a ring light, but we do not have any of those fancy screen splashes and images coming at you in the middle of the show because, well, we can't afford it. And it should also be enough for you, the consumer. Well, this is hopefully just entertaining enough on its own. Also, I was going to say something about that. Well, thanks for watching. Oh, yes, of course. What I was going to say is, if you don't want to stare at my big fucking face right here the whole time, you can listen to it audio. I mean, either by just putting on the video and hearing the conversation that I have with myself. Hearing that. Or there's also an audio version now that I've released on Spotify, and I don't know if it's on Apple Podcasts yet, but I did it through Spotify for Podcasters, that thing that used to be called Anchor. Anyways, back to the story. Greasy monumental ritual at the Naval Academy ends after more than 2 hours. Annapolis, Maryland. It took Naval Academy plebes, Plebes, plebes as in plebeians. Is that what they call the initiates? The cadets? The novices? Is that what they call them? Plebes? 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 11 seconds Wednesday to accomplish the ultimate in upward mobility. Scaling a greased obelisk and swapping out a cup with a cap. This year, with an unusual hitch. Alright. Well, upward mobility may be what they were hoping for, but alright, it's just a cute metaphor. But these boys aren't increasing their salary by climbing a greased obelisk. Now you listen here. anonymous author. Once again, I'm moving on. The annual grueling, slippery ritual marking the completion of the plebe year, so I can only assume it's like a freshman thing. That's what they call them, plebes. Yeah, well, it is the Naval Academy, so, and they're kind of weird. The plebe year ended with 20-year-old Californian Ben Liesegang standing victorious on the shoulders of scores of classmates and placing an upperclassman's hat atop the Herndon Monument. Class of 2027 plebes climbing up. Yep, so they're the freshmen. Oh, wow. So there's some cadets spraying the obelisk with water as they're all climbing up. Okay. Class of 2027 worked together to scale the 21-foot, 6-meter obelisk covered in vegetable shortening to replace the Crisco. And they put Crisco on it. Now, a lot of people talk about how the Navy might be gay, but an end of first year ritual of climbing a greased phallic object 20 feet high in the air and standing on the shoulders of your compatriots to get to the tip of it and put a little hat on it, which is very cute, by the way. Also, what's in the cup? Is there anything in the cup? Does he take the cup down, drink it? What? A lot of people say that the Navy might be a little bit homoerotic at times. Matter of fact, Winston Churchill, not of the American Navy, but of navies in general, because after all, you are stuck out in the middle of the ocean with usually nothing but a bunch of dudes for long periods of time. Winston Churchill famously said, "The only three things the Navy is known for are rum, sodomy, and the lash." Kinky. Okay. This obelisk covered in vegetable shortening to replace a plebe Dixie cup. So is a Dixie cup their name for their hat? Which, if it is, definitely racking up the points on how gay the Navy is. Which, by the way, there's no judgment. We just want to get to the bottom of things. We are at the top of our form, getting to the bottom of the truth, burrowing in and finding the hidden secrets in this world. Dixie cup, a white canvas sailor's hat with an upturned rim. Okay, so like the In-N-Out style serving hat, like the kind of hat that you'd see at In-N-Out, but made out of white canvas, with an upperclassman's more formal hat. There are about, but it's called a Dixie cup, no kidding. There are about 1,300 plebes in the class, according to Academy spokesperson Elizabeth B. Wrightson. After the climb is complete, they're called fourth-class midshipmen, not plebes. All right. So in your second year, you're a fourth-class midshipman. In your third year, third class. Fourth year, second class. And then you get to graduate as a first-class midshipman. I don't know. I'm getting distracted. It's said that the person who gets the hat to the top of the monument will be the first admiral in the class. Nice. Superstition, dig it. Wow, there's a truly astonishing array of expressions on these kids' faces. But again, we don't have an editor. We don't have a producer. We just have us right now. Celebrate after completing the Herndon. Okay, gotcha. Under rainy skies in Annapolis, Maryland, plebes linked arms around the monument's base to build a pyramid, clearing grease from the monument's surface, enduring a constant soaking spray from hoses. Around the 2-hour mark, one plebe finally got close enough to place the upperclassman's hat near the obelisk's pinnacle. Many of those in the pyramid dropped to the ground as the crowd celebrated. But in an uncommon scenario, the Dixie Cup hat remained in place, Wrightson said. The plebes quickly started back up to finish the job. Minutes later, the same plebe whipped the top of the obelisk, still lathered white with shortening, with a waterlogged shirt, and knocked down the upperclassman's hat. All right. All right. It's the Navy wet t-shirt contest. All right. Whipped. See, rum, sodomy, and the lash. It's very kinky over there. The hat was handed back up, and he finally knocked down the Dixie Cup hat and slid the upperclassman's hat into place, prompting uproarious cheers from the crowd below. I guess it's kind of like a you had to be there thing. But I bet it is quite an experience once everyone, everyone lets it all go. Academy Superintendent Vice Admiral Yvette M. Davids congratulated the class and introduced Gang, a midshipman 4th class from Rancho Santa Margarita, California. He is in the 4th company. Gotcha. What does that mean? All I have to say is we went out there, we executed on the controllables, and that was working together, Gang said. Let's go! He's already trained in the jargon. We executed on the controllables. That's officer material right there. So we went out there. This is ESPN crossed with Mission Accomplished, crossed with a military press briefing combined. This man is Admiral material. Gang, give that man a promotion. We executed on the controllables, and that was working together. Hell yeah. No, all right. Noting that they are a link in the chain, Davids passed on messages from the class of 1977, urging them to never forget what it's like to be a plebe, and asking them to give fair winds and following seas to the class of 2077. This is weird. So the article doesn't give any kind of context for why it introduces this idea right now, but here I'm gonna see if I can read into it and get to the truth. I also won't know if this is the truth. This is just my best guess. So it seems as if part of the ceremony for the Naval Academy is that you will receive words of wisdom written by the class from 50 years earlier who graduated the first year, and then you're also supposed to pass those on to the class 50 years later. 1977, 2077. Noting that they are a link in the chain, Davids passed on messages from the class of 1977. That's what I think it is. Urging them to never forget what it's like to be a plebe, and asking them to give fair winds and following seas to the class of 2077. How naval. You represent so much, not just the past but the future, David said. All right. The climb began in 1940, so this tradition, pretty old. And the placement of the officer's cap atop the obelisk to show that they had conquered the plebe year came 7 years later. According to a history of the event by James Cheevers, the former senior curator at the U.S. Naval Academy Museum. Upperclassmen first smeared grease on the monument to increase the difficulty in 1949. They first put a Dixie cup atop the monument before the climb in 1962. Well, I like trivia as much as the next guy. Records of how long it took each class to scale the monument aren't complete, but the shortest time is believed to be 1 minute 30 seconds in 1969. That's a very interesting year for all of that teamwork in an establishment institution to yield significantly good results. I mean, 1969, the summer of love, a time of rebellion. People weren't really wanting to join the military, but then the ones who were in it, I guess, were like, we're going to show those hippies we mean business and get this cap down in 90 seconds. That's pretty cool. That is cool because they're all organized together. They had a plan, a plan of action. It wasn't just a bunch of sweaty dudes climbing over each other, greased and wet and Navy. Okay. One in 1969, a year the monument wasn't greased. All right, well, that has an asterisk on it. Forget everything I just said. Throw it out the window. The longest was more than 4 hours in 1995 when upperclassmen glued down the Dixie cup. Okay, so they put a little epoxy on it. Epoxy upon your project, taking this cap off of the obelisk. All right, well, that was the entire article. That was it. You know, a little bit better than the last one. Let's see what the future has in store for us. Two more. I just picking them by the headlines, and we're going into these blind. Just nothing but us and the text. Also, none of these articles have author credits, so we won't be doing that. All right, this one says Colorado woman tried to steal a pickup but couldn't handle the stick shift, police said. Now, this one is going to be fraught with elements of women driving in America, but I'm not, strike that from the record. We're just going to read this and see where it takes us. Boulder, Colorado, Associated Press. A Colorado woman's attempt to steal a pickup truck shortly after she was released from jail on a car theft charge. Oh, already excellent. The truth is better than fiction. Was thwarted not by officers nor the truck's owners, but by her inability to drive a stick shift, Boulder police said. Can you imagine being so obsessed with stealing cars, having just gotten out of prison for stealing cars, that you then go find the nearest car you can, try and steal it, but they can't do it because you don't know how to operate the levers? That's fantastic. The woman had been released from jail on May 3rd after being accused of stealing a car. So this is allegedly accused of stealing a car a day earlier. Oh, a day earlier. So she's just in jail for the night. They're like, you seem to be causing some trouble. We're going to put you in the slammer for 24 hours and then let you go. And oh, what did you do again? All right, well, maybe now that she's stolen this car, it's established that this is her pattern. It's like it might have been just an accusation last time, but it seems like this is what she does. Or could she just be living up? Could she just be living up to what people? She's like, you guys thought I stole a car? Well, I didn't. Well, guess what? Here, I'm gonna steal this one. I'm gonna drive off with. How the? Yeah, and then you get caught. After stealing a car a day earlier, and walked down the road until she spotted a pickup truck with the keys inside. She then started the pickup, but apparently discovered she couldn't manage the manual transmission, so she got out and walked away, leaving the truck to roll forward and strike a fire hydrant, police said. Oh, so rude. So rude. Oh, I can't take her side at this point. That was just, you can at least put the parking brake on after you try and jack a truck. My goodness. The woman was arrested and now has a May 30th court date on new charges of motor vehicle theft, careless driving, driving without a license, didn't even have a license, and failing to report the crash. The truck was returned to its owner, police said. Police titled a social media post about the case, Stick Shift for the Win, which is an acronym for the... Okay, so FTW, acronym for the... All right, well, that was that one. Let's keep it chugging. Let's go. West Virginia candidate hospitalized after being bitten by snakes while removing campaign signs. Oh, if they were removing other people's campaign signs, the irony is chef's kiss delicious. If it was their own because they were cleaning up, that's tragedy. No good deed goes unpunished. Let's see what they have to say. Charleston, West Virginia. So there's a Charleston in West Virginia, not just South. All right. A candidate for West Virginia Secretary of State said he has been hospitalized for copperhead snake bites sustained while removing election campaign signs. Doug Scaff said he was bitten in the right leg and the right foot Wednesday near U.S. Route 119 in Danville, news outlets reported. Scaff told West Virginia radio network Metro News that passers-by called for medical assistance. The South Charleston resident said he expects to be in a hospital in Charleston for a few days. Okay, anything? Scaff, anything about whose signs he was taking down? Well, it sounds like if he told this to the press and he was taking down other people's signs before Election Day, then he wouldn't admit that. But Scaff ran in the Secretary of State race as a Republican on Tuesday. In unofficial returns, Scaff finished second to Chris Warner. Oh, so he lost the election, took down the signs, got bitten doing it. Screw politics. I'm out. I don't need this. I don't need this trouble. I'm just trying to serve the people of this state, and instead I'm getting served with fangs by the snakes of this grass. Scaff resigned his House of Delegates seat from Kanawha County last September after stepping down as the chamber's Democratic leader. That's interesting. So he was the chamber's Democratic leader, and then he ran as Secretary of State as a Republican. Okay. He announced in October that he was switching to the GOP and running for Secretary of State. Well, hey, if you can't beat him, join him. Scaff served in the House from 2019 to 2014 and was elected to the chamber again in 2018. He is president of HD Media, which owns the Charleston Gazette-Mail. I've seen that newspaper before. And several other state newspapers. All right. Well, these have been the stories for today. We appreciate you watching or listening. Yeah, if you don't want to look at it, because after all, there isn't too much to look at other than the occasional face that I pull. There's one, I think it's from episode 2 or 3, that I really liked, where I sort of just went like that to the camera. But, you know, honestly, it's probably just as good audio style. Vis-a-vis Bill Burr and the Monday Morning Podcast. That's his dealio. I don't know, maybe he's switched over to video instead of just recording it audio. Anyways, yeah, thank you everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.